after 10 years, that there's a long way still to go. A long way to go. And you can help fill that gap. It's the women who must now enter the field and take the field. And I'm delighted that your organization is conscious of it and aiming in that direction. The reason I think it's so crucial is because the question about women is a very important question for America. America is an open society, a democratic society. Women play a critical role in the United States. Although, Maria, I'm noticing you still don't have a female president. So Indonesia is way ahead of you in that way.
It'll come.
Soon, I hope. Women play a critical role and will continue to play a critical role. And I'm asked all the time, on different campuses and different audiences, I'm sure you are also, why does Islam treat women badly? Now, Muslims know the answers. Let me, for the sake of the non-Muslims, put on record some matters. And please remember this. Please remember this because I am now quoting text and scholarship. Number one, there are many things we associate with Islam which is not Islam. For example, female circumcision. That is not Islam. That is a tribal custom which is practiced by Muslim tribes, not Islam. Honor killings, not Islam. One of the reasons Hirsi Ali, growing up in Somalia, rejected Islam was this. She said, what sort of Islam is this? Female circumcision, honor killings, it's a terrible religion. I can understand that. She's growing up in an environment where there is so many non-Muslim things happening. Again, lack of knowledge of our own men in our societies, Muslim societies, where they can just go and kill a woman and say, this is an honor killing. We do that. Muslim men do that. The saying that Rosa quoted, paradise lies at the feet of the mother. Now this is the Prophet of Islam. 3 times a Muslim went to the Prophet and asked him, which is the shortcut to paradise? And Muslims, because they always like shortcuts, came back 3 times. The 3rd time he said, which is the shortcut? Forget the mother. And the Prophet said, the feet of the mother. Now this is a metaphor. It's a metaphor. Because it means that you must love and respect and look after the women in your family. They are the family. They carry one generation to the next. Now here is the challenge for you as mothers, as sisters, as wives. Do you know what's going on in the Muslim world? Think of the women in Libya, in Tunisia, Indonesia, in Syria today. Think of the challenges they face. Think of the challenges they face in just surviving. Tanks, helicopters, torture, secret police. They have sons, they have husbands. And they have to hold on to their culture and tradition and pass it on. The real heroines of the world today are the Muslim women out there in the field, challenging the situation around them. They are the real heroines. And we must salute them and pray that they succeed. Because if they fail, that society will fail. Because they will not be able to carry on the traditions and the fine points of their traditions to the next generation. And these are the traditions that Islam gives them. In the 7th century, Islam gives them the right to own property. 7th century. Comes to the West a millennium later, if that. Islam gives them rights to run businesses. Islam gives them the right to initiate divorce. Now this is incredible for the 7th century. And these are all legal rights that women have. So the notion that Muslim women are somehow second-rate citizens is simply not correct. And let me tell you that I have been brought up by a wonderful mother like Rosa when she mentioned her mother, she couldn't keep her tears back, a wonderful wife, wonderful daughters. And the idea that somehow Muslim women are submissive or take a back seat, when I think of my mother, and sometimes she had a strong right hand when she was not happy with what we were doing. In our culture, sometimes we tend to be a little bit physical and express it in that way. My wife was a very strong, educated woman, educated at the Convent of Jesus and Mary in Pakistan, where Benazir Bhutto was educated, and my daughters. One with a PhD at Cambridge University, became the first director of the only Jewish Muslim center in the world. The other daughter at Georgetown. I am proud of them. I feel that here are these wonderful women who are balancing their tradition and their culture and their faith. And I don't have to tell them anything. I have to learn from them and be inspired by them. So this is the challenge you're facing. How to hold on to yourselves and communicate it to your American friends. Because it is this challenge that each one of us faces. And it was in this spirit that I traveled first to the Muslim world, and I took some of my wonderful American students with me. We went to the Muslim world, the Middle East, South Asia, Far East Asia. We went to Indonesia. And I wrote a book called Journey into Islam. But I realized that that was half the story. The story was not complete. I had to also travel in the United States. And we did. The whole team traveled with me. We went to 75 cities. We visited 100 mosques. It's the most detailed study of Muslims in America and the challenges they faced. But what I did was, I began to read on American history, because I realized unless I understood America and American culture, American society, I couldn't really project the Muslim community and its problems. So it's that interaction you see throughout the book, the interaction between American society and the Muslim community. And again, that's a challenge for you, Muslim ladies especially. We are in this great country. We need to understand it. We need to appreciate it. We need to look at the great traditions of this country and salute it. Because one of the images in the book, two images I'll share with you. And I'm delighted to see Jan Duplan joining us at the back there. Jan, there you are. The two images I have for you, especially Muslim ladies from the Muslim world. This is America. An image of Thomas Jefferson. Now you know who Thomas Jefferson is, right? Put up your hands. Well done, you all passed. I was getting worried. So Thomas Jefferson, one of the greatest of all Americans, one of the greatest presidents, the author of the Declaration and the Constitution, which are such remarkable documents. There's a statue of Thomas Jefferson. And I'm sorry to say that so many Americans have not seen that statue. Just outside his university, the University of Virginia, which he created. So it's a statue. Marie, have you seen the statue? What does it say? There you are. Not good enough, Marie. As an American, you need to be proud of that statue. Because that statue has an angel holding a tablet. And that tablet says, and there's something worth remembering, 1786, religious freedom. This is on the tablet, the angel's holding it. And it says God, the God of Christianity, Jehovah, the God of Judaism, Allah, the God of Islam. Think of it, in 1786. And look at the rest of the world. Their kings and their dynasties and their despots. And here in the United States of America, Americans are creating a new kind of society with a new vision for society. And that is Thomas Jefferson's tablet for American society. And then, what shocked me was the next name. After Allah, they've got Brahma, Atma. He's talking about Hinduism, not just the Abrahamic faiths. This is the American vision. In essence, it is pluralist. It is welcoming. This is a new society, a new country. Everyone's welcome. Abide by the rules, abide by the law, and join the American table. That is extraordinary. The second image I have for you, and Marie, you won't mind this. This is a democratic example from the Democrats. An example from Jackie Kennedy. Jackie Kennedy is visiting Pakistan. Now, you know, relations between the United States and Pakistan, who are supposed to be two really close allies, is very, very rocky right now. It's rock bottom. We don't know where it will take us. And we think that America and Pakistan can never be friends. The image I have in my book, and I've got a picture there, is Jackie Kennedy, this beautiful, elegant lady, standing alongside the President of Pakistan in an open car in Lahore with thousands of Muslims, men and women, throwing flower petals at her and smiling. And from Lahore she goes to the Khyber Pass, the tribal areas. And think of it, the tribal areas where the Taliban today will not permit even the Pakistan army to have peace there. And Jackie Kennedy is welcomed by the tribal chiefs. So think of that image. An American lady, the Pakistanis falling in love with her. The same Pakistanis today in this very difficult relationship with America. And ask yourselves, what happened? How could we be so loved by one generation and then so hated by another generation? And that is our challenge. To be able to bridge the gaps, the hatred, the ignorance. And it can be done. The message I'm giving you through these images is that it can be done. And if any of you have any doubt in your mission to improve understanding, Americans and non-Americans, I would urge you to go back to the founding fathers of the United States. And I would really urge Americans to read a bit more on their own founding fathers. Because when I hear the debates in America today, when I see this very unpleasant relationship between the two main parties, I'm surprised because this is the oldest democracy in the world. The whole world is watching the United States and expects the highest standards of democratic debate, interchanges, and relationships and friendships. The founding fathers are talking at the end of the 18th century, and several of them mention Islam. And this will come to you as a surprise. It's in my book with all the references. Benjamin Franklin calls the Prophet of Islam, Benjamin Franklin, a model of compassion. Think of it. Today, you see the Prophet of Islam in the kind of image he has in the media. And yet here's Benjamin Franklin. Bless you. You must be models of compassion. Adams calls the Prophet of Islam one of the greatest lawgivers of all time, of all history. And Thomas Jefferson owned, as we know, a copy of the Quran, and was probably the first American president to have an iftar at the White House. And it was for the Tunisian ambassador, I believe. So there you are. You have a tradition which you have established in the United States. So, and Washington, of course, is extraordinary. I mean, he's the founding father par excellence. He's reaching out to the Jews. He's reaching out to the Muslims. He's reaching out to the Native Americans. He's reaching out to the African Americans. These are extraordinary men. It is their spirit that enters the Constitution. And that is the greatest gift of the United States of America. And that is something that every American needs to preserve. And when you chip away at it, you chip away not only at the time in which you live, you chip away at the very identity of America itself. So in some senses, wonderful ladies and gentlemen, Baba, that's you, the challenge of Islam, the debate about Islamic identity is more than just about Islamic identity. It really is a debate about America today. And that is why it's a more complex and more important debate than we assume it is. And that is why our discussions and our dialogue needs to be based in research, in knowledge, and with a genuine appreciation of each other. Without that, we cannot move forward. We cannot talk to each other in a spirit of putting the other person or the other side down. That won't do in today's world. It's the 21st century. The vision of the Founding Fathers demands egalitarianism, tolerance, friendship, and above all, pluralism. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Before we go into question and answer, I would like to say thank you for my dear best friend, Susie, Madam Susie, Ambassador, wife of Egypt. And she's also the Vice President of Muslim Women Association. And Vicky is wife of Ambassador of Philippines. Thank you for coming. And Naima, wife of Ambassador of Libya. And Madam Kinza, wife of Ambassador of Tunisia. And my dear friends, best friends, wherever we go, we have coffee almost every week, is Marie Royce, is the wife of Congressman Ed Royce from Republican. I have to mention that. And Madam Amina is wife of Ambassador of Djibouti. And once again, thank you so much.
Alan is the right fit for Monica.
Where's Alan?
I saw her from school, so I really didn't answer her.
And Alan, come. Alan is the wife of Ambassador of Monaco. Thank you for coming. And there's my best friend also, Gail Scott from Washington Diplomats. Thank you for coming, Gail. And my very good friend, Jan Duplan from DC Cultural Tourism. Thank you for coming. So thank you all my sisters from Muslim Women Association members, board committees, and also my sisters, American friends. Please, anyone wants to ask something to Dr. Akbar Ahmed? Is there any questions?
Yes, that was a great speech. Thank you so much. But I've heard the same criticism from non-Muslims and from the American media. Where is the moderate Muslim voice? Where is it? And almost every Muslim family living in the U.S. that I know of is involved. I mean, we go to our kids' schools and we, send in green cupcakes for Ramadan. We do what we do in our own small lives, but none of these efforts seem to be hitting the major media. So, what advice? Where do you think we're failing? What advice would you give us? What guidance?
I agree with you. This is a question we all get all the time. Well, all right, you are talking like this, but where are the real Muslims? Where is the real voice of Islam? Because you are supposed to be a moderate, but there are no other moderates. Now, of course, if you point out that all of us are moderates, in fact, Islam is very much a mainstream, centrist religion, it's difficult to convince people. So my advice is, and this is after 1 decade of plodding along this path, to continue doing your work. Because it's also making an impact. I'm finding so many Americans now, Jews, Christians, Hindus, joining this debate and discussion. The landscape is shifting. Maybe not as quickly as we want to, but it is shifting. Secondly, I think Muslims have to. And our wonderful hostess, Madam Ambassador, and I talked about this the other day. Our Muslim leadership, especially the women, have to be more visible in the media. The television, the Fox and CNN and the BBC television and so on have to see more Muslim women interacting and talking. That's essential. The ambassadors' wives, the leaders here. Thirdly, Muslim women have to be much more involved in writing, op-eds, articles. And here also our friend, our wonderful friend, Jan Duplan can be of great help because she's very committed. She's like a guardian angel of dialogue between Muslims and non-Muslims and different cultures. So if we can continue this path, I think in the end, because as I've said, I find American audiences open, very receiving, but they want to hear. I've been to the tiniest of towns, I've been to suburbs, I've been to the Midwest, East, West, everywhere. And a lot of Americans will tell me, you're the first Muslim we're meeting or talking to. So we need to be much more energetic and reaching out. There is a great need and we need to fill that need.